Alright, chums, I've got about an hour between now and the Skaven RP. I'm currently recording this on Sunday, and I'm not going to be around for the next few days, so I gotta get something pre-recorded for Wednesday's video, and I've only got an hour to do it. So I figured we would look at something that I've been putting off, but here we are, called r/female dating strategy. Oh no. I first learned of this because of Lo Ping's Twitter account, where he posted this story from r/female dating strategy. Got set up with a LVM. Got set up with I think LVM means low value male. Got set up with a low value male and was almost assaulted. Not too long ago, I posted about a guy I met through friends. He seemed perfect. Nice guy, money, hot, tall, etc. However, my friends confessed he's a virgin. First red flag. That's a red. Okay. First red flag, but I ignored it. So we go on a few dates and he's perfect, kind, he pays for it, and he clearly made an effort. So fast forward to a few dates later. I invite him in and start making out and getting pretty frisky, loving it so far. But then I grab his you-know-what, and it's tiny! Suddenly his virginity makes sense. Oh, so he just has a small penis, okay. We're still kissing at this point, but I just wanted to get out of there now. I told him to stop, and he apologized and got up off the couch. If I had kept kissing him, I'm really worried he'd have kept going and put me through an awful experience. Luckily, nothing happened, but I'm still pretty shook up about it. I'm going to tell my friends about it tonight, so they don't have to put someone else through this. I guess the search continues. Okay, so Miss Size Queen here considers a low-value male to be somebody with a tiny dick, even though he mentions that he's a nice guy, he has money, he's hot, he's tall, but he's low value because the penis is small. That's pretty rough. But relook at the title. Got set up with an LVM and was almost assaulted. Are you fucking kidding me? You were leaning into him the whole time up until you discovered his dick size. You were almost assaulted? Like, we're what, a minute into the video and my mind's already blown by this. So after reading this post, I had to go and see just what the fuck female dating strategy was. And here it is, thefemaledatingsstrategy.com. What is female dating strategy, aka FDS? We are a collective of women from all walks of life committed to developing, creating, and implementing strategies, take control of our lives and narratives, and live a life of true empowerment. What is the goal of FDS? FDS's goal is to deconstruct toxic and self-sabotaging cultural narratives that inhibit women from living their best lives and entering into relationships that truly benefit them. We believe in promoting self-advocacy, discarding victim narratives, and serving ourselves and our future children. What is your methodology? Simple. Maximum female benefit. Oh God. We seek to locate and define current cultural problems in dating and relationships and create concrete, actionable strategies to maximize our happiness and health while minimizing overall risk. We believe the collective mind is stronger than the individual, and that dating strategy is best gleaned from the real experiences of women around the world. We center our methods in brutal realism about men and our current cultural climate, not aspirational but often practical ideology. Each of our recommended strategies is weighed by overall risk versus reward based on real-world lived experience and available data to recommend the best course of action. There's 6 core principles. 1. Be a high-value woman. A high-value woman is a woman who doesn't revolve her life around men. She has her own career, hobbies, and a great social life that fulfills her emotional needs. So if she does welcome a man into her life, he better be amazing. A high-value woman also doesn't romanticize men's true nature. Therefore, she's cautious around them and wants them to prove themselves to her before she gets emotionally attached. 2. Let men chase you. A man's role is to be the pursuer, the one to convince you that he's the right man for you. As a woman, you don't have to prove yourself to him. He either sees your value or he doesn't. The only thing that's within your control is working on becoming your best self. 3. Most men are not of value to you. The majority of the advances you receive from men are not of any value because the majority of them are from men who only want to use you for sex. Many men are sex-driven, low effort, and entitled. However, there are also men out there who can be amazing boyfriends and husbands who know how to be a man and how to take care of you in all ways. 4. Ruthlessly evaluate men. We do ourselves and humanity no favors allowing men to exhibit subpar behavior and being rewarded with our attention. Thus, be ruthless in cutting off men who add no value to your life. 5. Make him invest before sex. Don't have sex before commitment has been established, or before he has demonstrated value and investment. If a man is really into you and sees you as a girlfriend material, he will commit to you in 2 months. If you're looking to have a dependable friends with benefits, you must still require investment from him so he provides you with the respect and fun times that you want. 6. Generous men are non-negotiable. While we believe having your own career and making your own money, a man still has to add financial value to your life and make you feel like he can take care of you. This means not splitting the bill and not dating financially challenged men. So what's interesting about this whole thing? Jesus Christ. It's like a weird combination of like incel dumb and sociopathy. Okay, what's interesting about this whole thing is that it feels like the female mirror image of like pickup artist culture. You know, where guys are talking about basically how to get sex out of women, how to like play their cards right so that they can basically get them in bed, regardless of whether or not she actually starts the night wanting to get in bed, you know, how to basically seduce women. Or even beyond pickup artist stuff, there's also like the idea of, you know, what is you know, sex friend material and what is wife material. This is like the female version of that. However, it's also like the most toxic and aggressive parts of those cultures. All right, we gotta check out what's on the subreddit itself. Oh god, this is a terrible looking subreddit. Jesus, this is some Web 1.0 shit. The first real post: her husband slept with her mother for what the fuck? Oh god, I have to... Hold on. Their most popular posts in the subreddit require me to join for $8 a month on their Patreon to even read them? Oh my... Alright. Most men are not capable of genuine love. Oh my god. In order to love a woman, they have to see her as human. That's why most of them would rather keep the privilege of seeing you as an object, to feel less bad about the mistreatment they put you through. Hence the porn. Aside from the inherent taught misogyny, it is yet another tool to help them stay unattached, to feed their view of you as an inanimate object that should only serve them, an object that deserves to be punished if it is faulty or dares to disobey, an object that deserves to be used then discarded. They know they hate women and they are content with it. So there are certainly some men out there like this, but this honestly feels like projection. Like if you go back to those 6 principles of female dating strategy, like this is the inverse thing. Like talking about how men have to prove themselves, or men have to have certain kinds of value, or men have to chase you, or what, like this is the inverse situation. They are complaining about what men do to them, which sometimes happens, but then they're saying that they should do the same thing back to men. This one's tagged Scroats Mad. Scroats? Alright. This was posted in a subreddit, which I can't name as to not break FDS rules, where users share cringe content. I fail to see what's cringe about a woman having standards. This is why males on Reddit are single. I do not accept a coffee or a walk as a possible date option. McDonald's it is. but you know, there are times for romantic, reasonably expensive dates. And that's not first date with a new girl who's all made up like this and clearly hunting for a boyfriend. If you're going for a coffee in the afternoon and you start sipping on coffee and talking to them, and it turns out, you know what, maybe she just doesn't like you, or you just don't like her, you can easily just say thank you for your time and peace out. You're not obligated. You're not stuck at a restaurant, you know, half an hour from home where you need a ride to get home. That is the point of the first date being a little bit low effort. It's not just because you're cheap. It's not just because you might not want to invest in somebody right out the gate, and that's actually a pretty good reason why. But it's also because you want there to be an easy out. Everyone is so offended that women have standards, Lamau, and then they shame us and call us sluts if we have no standards. This woman obviously isn't going to sleep with just any dude. She's vetting for a high-value male. But nope, that makes her a bitch, apparently. When I see this much makeup, I don't think of somebody who's a high-value woman. I think of somebody who's kind of insecure, to be honest. Like, makeup can look good. You know, I like when Naomi wears makeup sometimes, but, like, I wouldn't date somebody who's this high maintenance. I want somebody that I can go on adventures with, and this does not seem like an adventurous person. This seems like a carry-me-around person. I want a partner, not a doll that I have to, like, perfectly take care of. I just wanted to share something that happened, and I hope you guys think it's great as I do, lol. My son and I have been working our way through the Star Wars canon, and we're on Season 3 of Clone Wars. For those not familiar, there's a very powerful female Sith named Ventress. Because she's getting too powerful, as the male Sith Palpatine puts it, she must be killed. My son pauses the show, looks at me, and goes, "How misogynistic. He only wants to get rid of the powerful females." Yep, they sure do. When given a chance to replace her, it's mentioned that maybe a male should be sent. I was so proud of him to recognize that. So I've heard some people say that female dating strategy is a right-leaning sub. You know, it's just trad women who are demanding trad men, you know, step up but actually, no, that's not how it is at all. Trad women do not care in this way about misogyny. Certainly not about representation in fucking media. This is simply the most toxic parts of leftist feminism laid bare. Never date a guy who studied philosophy. Last night I went on a Tinder date, and for the first time since I ended an LTR that had become abusive. Tinder guy seemed intelligent, attractive, employed, all the usual things I look for in a partner. We met at the bar and ordered drinks. As the conversation developed, I could sense he had a really strange attitude. It was a combination of an unearned sense of superiority, unnecessary oppositional behavior, and inexplicable misdirected hostility, all poorly concealed under a thin veil of self-serving liberalism. My spidey senses were tingling, so I asked, hey, just curious, what was your major in university? But I already knew the answer. Philosophy, he said proudly. Maybe there's something to this one. Oh, cool, I said, rolling my eyes. In my experience, men who study philosophy are just the worst people. Women who study philosophy are fine. Because they just want to read and learn and have cool discussions. Whereas men who study philosophy seek to dominate. They are so convinced of their own genius that they constantly interrupt or talk over me. They will go on and on mansplaining a basic concept I'm already familiar with. They're boring. There's definitely something to be said about nerdy philosophy majors. Like, I understood, all right? People who get a bit too overeducated, they're too up their own ass. Like, I get it, okay? But this idea that women can't also have that sense of superiority is ridiculous. All men are predators and misogynists until proven otherwise. Jesus Christ. This is going to be a hard pill to swallow. The majority of men don't value women as people, and I mean the vast majority of men. Even the men who are in our daily lives that we cherish. I have come to accept that all men are trash until proven otherwise. I have found that keeping all men in all situations at arm's length until I have substantial proof of their character to be very beneficial. This goes for family too. I have many male family members that I keep a need-to-know business-style relationship with. How a man treats any woman in his life is indicative of how he views women, period. Your male friend likely keeps you around for hopes of sex and then dogs you behind your back. Your friends with benefits shared your nudes to his group chat and mocked your body. Most of your boyfriends do this too. The father of the picturesque nuclear family. You know what? This is insane. If you said this, if you just changed out man with black and woman with white, these people would be called the most racist of the fucking racists out there. Men are slaves to their dicks, and they will try to make you a slave to their dicks too. Listen, there's actually a lot of women who are into that. It never fucking ends. Go to the dead bedroom sub, and there are endless variations of, I want sex every day, but she doesn't. Or my wife had a baby a few months ago. What about my dick? Or I want to insert disgusting, degrading porn-inspired sex act, and she won't. Should I suggest ethical non-monogamy? Or my primary love language is fucking. I can't feel connection either way. Then when his bullshit needs aren't being met, he goes to porn, or cam girls, or affairs, all of which introduces instability into the family. All because of his dick. Never once does he think that just maybe his dick shouldn't be in control. Men throw away so much following their dicks. Families, self-respect, and careers. This is why men are unfit to lead anything. Women only suffer reproductive madness once a month. For men, it's a daily existence. Again, look at the hypocrisy. Look back at them talking about their needs and how they deserve to live their most full life and all this other fucking nonsense. But there's no actual care for their partners. They don't care about these men. They only care about what can be provided to them. And they'd say, yes, of course. I mean, we're women. We should be this way. Like it's like soulless. I'm not saying that guys who do some of this terrible shit are any better. They're not. But like, they have basically taken the worst of the male sex, ignored the best of it, taken only the worst, stooped down to their level, and then justified it while demanding that men themselves change. It's insanity, dude. Why men must give in relationships. If a man doesn't splurge on you, he doesn't care enough. When a man finds a woman he really values, he will spend every last penny trying to win her over. How many times have you heard of men barely paying for their wife and kid while buying expensive gifts for their mistresses? Men like to spend money on women. There's whole fetish communities around this. Only if a man feels you aren't a good investment will he be reluctant to spend on you. Income isn't a factor either. Even poor men will spend on women. Don't be caught up with a cheap guy, nor a guy who thinks that money is everything. It's a minimum requirement, really. I used to think money didn't matter, but it ain't true. Gold diggers, not even once. Dear male lurkers, FDS is coming for your girlfriends. I just want to take a moment to validate all those paranoid thoughts buried deep in your subconscious that your girlfriend is going to find FDS and dump you for being low value. Or maybe you're single and you already struggle to get women's attention, and deep down you'll know you'll never find a girlfriend if women raise their standards. Perhaps you're a wannabe player and browsing this sub makes you rage at the thought of women expecting more from men and no longer being so easily fooled into casual sex. It's all true. Yep, all of it. It's going to happen. Only a matter of time. You know, I'm happy I'm with Naomi. She's not like this at all. This is not her personality. Not all women view relationships in such a calculating way. And in fact, they find it just as disgusting to do so as, for example, you and I do. Assuming that you agree with me on this. I assume you do. That's why you're here this far, right? And there is ultimately a negative end result to women who behave this way and think like this. Like, I have to assume that just like a lot of the pickup artist guys, a lot of these girls, they're like, they probably went through some pretty bad experiences, and this is just like a trauma response, because Jesus Christ, to be this toxic, to be this terrible towards other people, it ain't normal. You know what I mean? My mission in life is to make my husband's life as easy, happy, fun, and profitable as possible. Every action I take is to be an asset to him, not a liability. Would modern women consider me more noble than if I did that for a company instead? Depends. Is your husband cutting you a check every week? How does your prenup look? Are you prepared to survive without him if he dies or decides his 24-year-old secretary would actually make him happier? Are your wifing skills transferable to an equally supported position within someone else? Burying your head in the sand about the risk you're taking as a tradwife because you hate feeling like you can't compete with modern women is not a great strategy, sis. This is like a third position. Yeah, okay. So, you know, third positionism in politics? This is like third positionism for like the sexual marketplace, because you have the modern woman who does the working for a company, doesn't want to have kids. You know, some guys don't care. Some guys want a more trad wife, you know, whatever you want. There's the modern woman, there's the trad wife, and then there's like the female dating strategy poster who like has none of the positives of either of those two options. This person is looking at sex and romance like it's merely transactional, which is honestly the problem with a lot of the modern dating scene. But at the same time, they're demanding a very rigid, very conservative view of what a man should be in the high value male thing. So they are literally the worst of both worlds. The men's rights movement is growing, and it's terrifying. I have a feeling that the more people who see female dating strategy, the more people will join them. You are causing this problem. I had a rather sad conversation with my cousin and a family friend the other day. They were arguing that men have it so hard, and at times, even more difficult than women. Their arguments were this. 1. Men have an unattainable standard of beauty. 2. Men have a harder time getting dates. 3. Men face so much pressure trying to get good jobs and be a provider. 4. Women tell men to open up emotionally, but when men do, women are disgusted. 5. Women have more social support than men. Here's the thing. This is all like pretty true. Sometimes, at least, like not all the time, but sometimes definitely. And not only is it true, these are things that like a female dating strategist would like chad yes to. It's like, yes, all 5 of those points, I expect you to be able to do them all the time. And it's like, well, why would men lift this kind of a burden if they get absolutely nothing from it? Of course, there is always hope. Really hoping that this is a joke. The audacity of scrotes. I'm a moderator of female dating strategy on Reddit, and I've been masquerading as a woman to feed them bad advice on how to get men, so these toxic bitches never stand a chance, and exploiting a male for his baby and money. Sorry but not sorry, it had to be done. Dude. Take one for the team. The other side of female dating strategy is something kind of like women posting their L's. And what you see over here are just a lot of sad, depressing romance stories from the woman's perspective. And this just seems to be the natural end result of the female dating strategy. It's women who have their standards way too high based on what they themselves bring to the table, which sometimes isn't that much, and then experiencing all the bad ends that comes with that. This is from a person who has an OnlyFans. I mean, I guess you must know your value. You're getting it right there, since you're literally selling it. But she says, I tried going on a date last night to feel a bit more normal and social. This man loved me up until I told him I do OnlyFans. Then he left and didn't even pay for our drinks. I wasted $60 and was left crying in the middle of a bar by some prick with a receding hairline. The fact that you think that it's his fault and not yours, to the point that you're mad at him and you're going to insult him over something he can't control, which is his receding hairline, kind of shows that he's probably right about you. The idea of being married is so weird. Like, what if I'm having a sad moment late at night and I want to cry in bed and there's just some guy there? The fact that you would view your husband as just some guy and not the emotional rock, the partner that you're moving through life with, who would help you during your sad moments, again, kind of speaks to your toxic, corrupted mindset. Been dating a married guy for 6 months now. He's loving, consistent, and he chose to wait for me for 6 months without having sex. 2 weeks back, we made love, and the next day he changed, stopped picking calls or responding to my texts saying he's busy. He made me fall in love, and I'm now confused. Well, I mean, he's a piece of shit for cheating, but look what you're doing. You were fucking around with this guy for 6 months knowing he was married. What the fuck is wrong with you? If I cheated on you, instead of leaving me, just understand the fact that you lack something which the man I cheated on you with doesn't. Find out the error in yourself, apologize to me, say sorry, accept it, and become a better man. You are actually just a piece of shit. It's this assumption that woman equals good in all situations, and so whatever that women do, then it's automatically validated, because why not? Girl power. Yeah, this whole thing is just depressing. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what romance should be, in my opinion. It's definitely a consequence of the modern day hookup culture, and it's not just the fault of women, but it's also the fault of men. Because like I said, there is a mirror version of this on the man side of things. A truly fulfilling relationship, you don't keep score like this. Now you both have to contribute. Like, it's not that you can just, oh, we're not keeping score, so I'll just exploit the fuck out of my partner. No, you can't do that. But the idea is, you put everything you have into your relationship because you genuinely care for the other person. On both sides. And if sometimes one of them kind of falls apart, because, life sucker punches you sometimes, it happens. You have a health problem, you lose your job out of nowhere, you get laid off, get into an accident, whatever it is. There are things that are just not your fault that can happen to you. And now suddenly, you're not the strong, stable provider. Now suddenly, you're not the cute, perky, happy young woman that he married. Whatever it is. What keeps you going in those down times, it's not going to be sexual attraction. It's not going to be any of this kind of ruthless calculus. It's not going to be money. That can help depending on what you're talking about, but ultimately it's not going to be money. It's going to be your love for each other. The reason that most cultures have this view of monogamy that includes something like, though obviously not with the same words every time, but something like in sickness and in health, rich or poor, stuff like that, is that you're making a commitment to each other, but you're making a commitment to the metaphysical idea of each other, not just what you can bring to the table. That's important. That's not nothing, but it's also not all of it. And I think that's what these people don't understand. These genuinely seem like people who are not capable of love. And honestly, like sometimes when I do a Reddit video on this channel, I'll laugh, I'll have a good little giggle about it. It'll be like stupidity. This just made me feel really fucking sad.